program or what? I mean, where does this art come from, Ms. Talley?
A lot of the students who've participated in the program in the past, a lot of the art that is displayed on the walls was prepared by the students.
You know, I think that to talk about young people between 8 and 18 years old this morning, Ms. Talley, is to suggest certainly that ISOA is doing a lot of things in terms of trying to meet some of the basic needs that young people have. But it also suggests that our young people are facing serious problems or perhaps serious challenges today. And over the next few minutes that we have during this show, let's talk about some of the problems or some of the solutions or some of the challenges, as you might prefer. Let's talk about that over the next few minutes that we have from your perspective. In dealing with these young people, what do you find them identifying as some of the major problems? We all know that crime is important and drugs and et cetera. How do they fit into that kind of equation?
I think a lot of children may be lacking love and maybe even support. And especially coming from a single-parent home, is not that the parent doesn't want to give that love and support, but when you're a single parent, you're presented with all type of difficulties and things, you know, that come to you that you can't just give 100% attention, you know, all the time. And I feel that with a lot of love and caring, that we can come together and solve a lot of the problems that are presented to our youth, and make them known that there are programs out there that are positive and that can be fun and educational at the same time.
You know, it's quite interesting, Ms. Talley, that you would mention as one of the major things that our youth has a yearning for, has to be love and understanding. I mean, it seems to me that oftentimes we talk about many of the material kinds of things, but what you're talking about here is something that can be given by any parent, no matter whether it's a two-family parent or a one-family parent, I mean, a one-parent household. And it's love, respect, and an understanding and a love for the child. I think and so ISOA is directed in reference to recognizing that as one of the major important components. Mr. Honeysucker.
Well, Dr. Haney, one thing that really I think is a primary problem in today's society is peer pressure. Youth will go to school, receive, and if they're not in what they say as a clique, then they feel left out, and they feel like they're pressured to do things that they may are going against their will. And see, one thing about ISOA, we have to applaud the youth that we have had come in, because instead of, it's a Saturday morning program, and instead of those kids sitting home watching TV or out doing something wrong or getting in trouble, they take the time to come to ISOA and devote their time. So that tells us a lot about the youth in Nashville and in the metro area, that they really are trying to encourage their peers to, hey, we need to be positive in the things that we do. Enough of the crime. All we read about is youth crime, guns, violence in the schools. We can prevent that. You know, they a lot of times they focus on they say, well, it all begins at home. But Dr. Haney, by me growing up in a single-parent home, my mother projected positive values in me, within me. Now, it was basically, my mother couldn't go with me when I went out the door, but she could project those values at home. And once I'm outside that door, it's an individual thing then. It's basically upon me. And the same way with youth today. We don't want them, their parents at home trying to do the best they can to project them in a positive image, and they walk out the door and do some negligent type acts. We want them to come and be positive, offer some positive things to the community, because hopefully that peer pressure from their positive side can rub off on the people that are doing something negative.
Would you say, Ms. Talley, that, and I think that the statements made by Mr. Honeysucker would certainly agree with this, that if young people have something to do and persons to care about what they do, that they would become more active and more involved in terms of doing positive things rather than destructive or negative things. Would you agree with that? And from your experiences, tell us give us some of your experiences in reference to that.
Yes, I agree with that statement. And I feel that communication plays a big role. We have to communicate with one another and find out actually what is going on in our youth's lives, and actually what do they want. And we have to be able to communicate with them on their level. A lot of times, you know, parent relationships, youth and parent relationships, everyone doesn't have that parent who's like a sister or who's like a best friend. So I find that with communication that we can knock down a lot of the barriers to the problems that are going on.
Mr. Honeysucker, you know, one of the things that we find in many instances people find to be very, very distasteful in reference to our youth today is their selection of music and their selection of clothing. And let's, over the last 9 or 10 minutes that we have here, from your perspective, dealing with these young people every day, and hear the rap music and some of the vulgar words from our perspective and from our definition, etc., and the baggy pants, what are they trying to tell us in reference to that? Or are they trying to tell us anything in reference to that?
Well, as they say, Dr. Haney, it's a fad or a trend. Wearing baggy pants or your hat backwards, and, you know, watching BET and rap, MTV and rap music, you know, that takes a lot of time. You know, kids, that shows us that they focus a lot on what's put on our television and what we hear on the radio. And so basically, referring that to ISOA, if we come in, we dress in casual clothes, we're down to earth, but see, Dr. Haney, you have to be able to relate to the youth. We can't walk in there, if the youth are more used to being street terminology, we have to, that takes a trend, it takes time to convert. And we can't walk in and throw a higher type of education or learning on the youth when they're not used to that, because it takes away from their attention. So what we try to do, we try to more or less blend in with the youth and slowly, and through a progress of time, try to influence them into a certain way of living and positive thinking. We don't want to go in there and just try to force anything, because that's not what ISOA is about. It's about taking the time to understand the youth, taking ideas from the youth and converting those into a positive type of situation.
Very good. And I think, Ms. Talley, we've got about 8 minutes left before we end this show for today. And that'll give us an opportunity to, again, reflect on some of the things in reference to the programs at ISOA. I think you've already indicated that you have a multiplicity of programs, but let's give our audience some information about the Youth Challenge program that you're going to have.